I teach biology at Saluda High School. I've taught here for the past 13 years. When I first came to Saluda, I was the horticulture and environmental science teacher, but within a couple of years I began to transition into the science department. And since that time, I've pretty much taught all biology classes. Biology 1 college prep, Biology 2 honors, Applied Biology 1 and 2, and Advanced Placement Biology. I'm originally from the Belmont, Mount Holly, Stanley area of Gaston County, just across the line into North Carolina. So in North Carolina, I attended North Carolina State University, and I have a Bachelor of Science in Horticulture with a minor in Botany. I earned a master's degree from the University of Maryland, and in 2007, I earned my National Board certification in teaching. I probably decided to become a teacher on my first day of school. When I went to school to Mrs. Helton's first grade class in North Belmont Elementary, I loved it. I loved the sights, I loved the sounds. I think I loved everything but nap time. Nap time, I'm a little too bouncy for nap time, but I loved it. And so when I went there, it was so incredible. And probably part of that had to do with the fact that I had a little bit of a chaotic life as a child. And my mother had died when I was 4. So when I walked into Mrs. Helton's classroom, that was the first memory I have of a mother. So I loved Mrs. Helton. And once there, I realized I loved to learn as well. And probably the only reason I came home that day was so I could take what I had learned and bring it home to my little brother and teach him. And so I sat my younger brother down, broke out the chalkboard, taught him everything that I had learned. And I realized I loved this, learning something and sharing it with someone else. We good now, Charisma? Fantastic. I'm proud. I'm proud. In my classroom, I have a guiding principle for all of my instruction. I have a little slogan I developed a couple of years ago: college prep, work prep, life prep. And so with all of my lessons, I try to keep that in mind. Now, whether they're going to 4-year college or 2-year college or no-year college, all my students are going to have a job one day. And so with my lessons, I try to incorporate those skills that are going to be very beneficial on the job. Be on time, show quality craftsmanship, be prepared for work, those types of things. So I try to incorporate that as well. I had a student a few years ago, he was a mess. And I knew he was coming from a serious situation at home. And he came into class that very first day, and he was going to prove to me and the world that he could fail my class miserably, and he did it. This year, let's try to do things a little bit differently. I'm here to help. Let's do it this time. And that student came in on the first day of class, and he said, "Mr. Johnson, I want to apologize for last year. I was wrong. There are no excuses. I'm going to do better this year." And he was a changed man, and it was absolutely a beautiful thing to watch because his grade went up a lot, but he also became such an important part of that class, and it was just a beautiful thing to see. And I felt like I had contributed something to him because I hadn't given up on him. I wouldn't lower the bar for him, but I wouldn't give up on him either. And he responded and did what he needed to do to be successful. Look back at your textbook, and I want you guys to answer that question for me in a couple of minutes. Where do we start in one of these things and why? Okay? Teaching is the most rewarding thing I can think of, and it gives me an opportunity to learn. And once I learn, I get to share it, and that's a lot of fun. That's very rewarding. As I share what I've learned, I get to share it with some really terrific people, some terrific kids who are growing into outstanding adults. And so as I'm doing that, it's phenomenally rewarding for me to watch a child come into my classroom on day one and grow and develop all the way until graduation. Then lots of times I get to hear what they've done after graduation as well. So that's why it's rewarding. It's the learning I get to do, and it's the sharing of that knowledge, and it's the people that I get to share it with. Remember, William, we're dealing with simple Mendelian genetics. Not incomplete dominance, not codominance. We are dealing with simple Mendelian genetics, okay? In a typical class for me, we have a general pattern. My students come in, they read an assignment. It may be a newspaper article, it may be a blog entry, a textbook passage, a poem. And once they read that, there's typically a question they have to respond to. And as they write their response, they need to cite evidence to support what they're saying the answer should be here. And then often we discuss those writings that they have just done. And again, they have to be able to support those thoughts with evidence. Once we do that part of the lesson, we go into the lab, and in the lab we typically work on some sort of problem to solve. And today we are in the lab in a couple of my classes. We're actually going to dissect jellyfish. A really simple, easy dissection, but just to help them get used to how to go about doing dissections, because we do quite a few for the rest of the year. Students have heard all year about structure and function in biology. We need to know how something's built and what those parts do. And if we understand how it's built and what it does, then we can understand how an organism interacts in its environment. So we'll be looking at all those pieces in that Biology 2 honors class today, and maybe getting a little messy as well.
Please don't hold it against me.
Oh! Gets you every time, doesn't it? Every time. Here's the deal. Can a dead jellyfish sting you?
I guess not.
A dead jellyfish can sting you. I don't have my glove on, okay? So why am I not being stung? I want you guys to think about that, okay? And in a minute, I'm going to ask you again, why did I not get stung, okay? Regardless of whether I'm selected as Teacher of the Year, one of the things that I want is I want us all to understand we are all teachers, whether we are parents or neighbors or employers or classroom teachers. We are all teachers, and we are models for our kids, and our kids want to emulate us. They can have positive role models or they can have negative role models. And what I would like to see as a teacher is I would like to see us all working together to make sure that our kids are getting the best education they can full circle. So what I do in the classroom, I would like to see parents reinforce at home. And I want to reinforce what parents are doing at home in the classroom. And I want to reinforce what the employers expect of my students as future employees. And I want them to reinforce the importance of education. I think if we're all doing that, then our kids are going to come out so much better, and I think our society is going to be a lot better as well. So I would like to see us all remember that we're teachers and we're working for a common goal, and that is to help our students become the best people that they can be. You have to have a passion for what you're teaching. If you have that passion for what you're teaching, that enthusiasm is going to spill over onto the kids, and they're going to appreciate your topic as well, the subject that you do. I think, too, that you have to have a calling. You have to understand that this is a noble profession and you have the potential to do great things. So treat it like a calling. Take it seriously. You're going in to better someone's life. So jump in there, have the passion for your material, and have a passion for your students, and know your material, and keep learning your material. One of the reasons that I teach is because I love to learn, and I want to share what I learn. And one of the things that I want to share is education is so incredibly important. I know for me, I've been able to do the things that I've been able to do because of the education that I have. And I earned that education because of great people coming alongside of me and helping me as I moved through my academic career and since then as well. And so I would really like to see a greater understanding of the value of education. I know for me, education has allowed me to go much further than I should have gone. And without that education, I couldn't have done some of the things that I've done. And so I would really encourage everyone to see that value in education, grab hold of it, and move forward.